Hello, welcome to my channel. Today, I invite you on a chilling walk as I share haunting stories from the past. This time, we will delve into the dark history of Jenny Wanda Barkman, a woman whose angelic face hid a truly terrifying nature. Sometimes people reveal their true nature at the most unexpected moments, and this nature shocks their contemporaries so much that they cannot understand why it happened. Such is the case with Jenny Wanda Barkman, a sweet girl, Sweet Jenny, whom her parents were proud of and who seemed destined for only one thing: to shine on the catwalk. Born in 1922 in Hamburg, the girl was given the double name Jenny Wanda. From childhood, she was distinguished by her angelic appearance, which fit perfectly into the later theory of the true Aryan. She dreamed of a modeling career. After graduating from school, Jenny enrolled in a performing arts studio in Hamburg, and as soon as the first photos of the beautiful Jenny appeared in magazines, her dream came true. She started to shine. Offers poured in from all sides, from fashion magazines to men's magazines. Barkman did not refuse anyone, so alluring photos of the semi-naked beauty with an angelic face graced men's magazines, and the Aryan profile of the blonde beauty inspired soldiers and officers to military exploits and civilians to feats on the labor front. Jenny's name was known throughout Germany and far beyond, in the Wehrmacht troops fighting from Africa to Stalingrad. It seemed that life had succeeded, and the golden dream had long since become a reality. However, as time later showed, this was not enough for the model herself. Already in 1942, due to a shortage of personnel in concentration camps, the German authorities announced the recruitment of civilians for positions of overseers, guards, and other camp service personnel. Potential candidates were lured by high salaries, benefits, and career growth prospects up to camp commander. In 1944, Jenny Wanda Barkman responded to this call, and after being hired, she was assigned to the Stutthof concentration camp, located near the town of the same name and a few dozen kilometers from Gdansk. Dubbed the Forest of Gods by Lithuanian writer Balas Sruoga, Stutthof was a place where the gods were the guards and overseers, and the passive flock were the prisoners. From the first days of her job as an overseer, Jenny Wanda Barkman revealed an unknown side of herself as one of the most brutal and inventive overseers, whose tortures astonished even seasoned SS officers. The prisoners soon nicknamed Barkman the Beautiful Ghost and Mad Jenny. The thing was that from the fragile girl with an angelic appearance, it was impossible to expect the level of atrocities she committed against the prisoners. The former model had a particular fondness for Jewish and Polish women. The reasons for this remain unexplained. She punished her charges severely for the slightest infraction. Her favorite method was beating with a thin leather strap. According to witness testimonies, she beat several dozen women to death with this tool alone. Another of Barkman's favorite pastimes was separating mothers from their children. She derived abnormal pleasure from taking a child from its mother and sending the child to the gas chamber before the mother's eyes. Many standard types of torture were perfected by the former model, driving her victims insane. She whipped the offenders' feet with a strap, beat them with a rubber truncheon, and set dogs on them. She often invited local doctors to her experiments, who conducted inhumane experiments on the unfortunate prisoners in the camp. According to former prisoners, during the fatal beatings, the angel's face would transform into a demon's. The mask of madness that appeared on Barkman's face at such moments even frightened her colleagues. There are also accounts of how Barkman greeted newcomers. Many fell into her trap right away, seeing the sweet and kind woman sincerely smiling at the prisoners. With the same sweet smile, she could offer a poisoned candy to a child and then relish the screams of the unfortunate mother, whom she would later beat for showing disrespect. Everyone feared Barkman so much that they avoided even accidentally glancing at her, as at best, it meant the gas chamber, and at worst, a torturous death under the former model's sadistic pleasure. Unfortunately, Stutthof was one of the last camps to be liberated, on May 9, 1945. So the camp administration managed to evacuate about 11,000 prisoners from the camp. Later, 3,000, mostly Jews, were shot. At that time, many overseers and guards decided to secretly flee to avoid falling into the hands of the advancing Red Army units. Jenny Wanda Barkman fled with them, understanding that her life would be over if she was discovered. However, unlike her colleagues, Jenny Wanda was overly confident. She hid in Poland for 4 months. Moreover, she did not immediately try to leave Germany but even stayed there. What the criminal was counting on is hard to understand. She brazenly appeared in Gdansk, where she intended to board a train to leave Poland. But the captured Stutthof archives containing the files of all the camp staff and the testimonies of surviving prisoners left the sadist no chance to escape punishment. Wanted notices for Mad Jenny were sent to all liberated cities in Europe and in Poland, especially in Gdansk. One of the most terrifying overseers could be recognized by anyone. This is exactly what happened. Recognized by a military patrol at the railway station, Barkman was arrested and imprisoned. During the investigation, Jenny Wanda even tried to charm one of the guards, Corporal Joseph Leiss of the Polish army. Using her looks, she subtly started telling the corporal how she actually saved Jews in the camp, and how many people owed their lives to her, but to obtain evidence of her alleged heroism, Jenny needed to be free. Perhaps if the guard had been someone other than a Jew who had lost his wife and daughter in Stutthof, Barkman might have succeeded. However, after Corporal Leiss familiarized himself with the prosecution's materials, he simply stopped approaching her cell door, so the former model's only slim chance of salvation disappeared. During the investigation, Barkman spoke utter nonsense. Initially, she claimed she was forced to become a guard because the Gestapo threatened to repress her family. When this didn't convince anyone, Barkman voiced a new version, claiming she was an anti-fascist who voluntarily worked in the camp to alleviate the prisoners' plight. Witness testimonies played against her. Eventually resigning to her fate, Jenny Wanda calmed down, realizing that her sentence was obvious. The Poles would not forgive what she did in the concentration camp. So at the trial, Barkman behaved quite arrogantly, smirking at all the accusations and sometimes even bragging about her torture and killing methods. The verdict was predictable: death by hanging. The court documents record a phrase Barkman said after the sentence was announced: "Life is indeed a great pleasure, and pleasure as a rule doesn't last long." Barkman's execution, along with several other Nazi criminals, took place on July 4, 1946, at Biskupia Gorka. The condemned were transported by truck, nooses placed around their necks. Then the truck moved, and the nooses tightened. When it was Barkman's turn, the truck stalled after the nooses were placed. A woman from the crowd immediately ran out and pushed Barkman's feet off the truck. The other condemned waited until the truck started again. Incidentally, about 200,000 people attended the execution. Some historians later claimed that after the execution, Jenny Wanda's body was burned, and her ashes were flushed down a toilet. In reality, this is just a beautiful legend. The Poles, despite their hatred, did not bother with the bodies of former executioners. By government decree, the bodies of all executed Nazi criminals were to serve one last time for the great cause of preparing future doctors and nurses. They were sent to the Department of Anatomy and Neurobiology at the Medical Academy of Gdansk. So, Barkman's life ended on the gallows, and her beautiful body served for months as an exhibit for future medical luminaries.